Hello, this is John Sace, host of the weekly podcast, Half Truths and Whole Lies. And there's a whole lot of lies out there, as we all know. I was in Sam's this week buying my multi-pack of toilet paper for the second time. And one of the food tasting ladies with a Santa hat came up to me and said, "Have you heard about the latest Santa conspiracy theories?" I said no. And that's what this podcast is about. Is Santa a saint, Satan, or a Coke-fueled ad campaign? Everybody would like to know. There is at least 3 versions of Santa out there. Will the real Santa please stand up? We gotta figure this out. The first one is the Slavic Christian St. Nicholas who pranced around in these cobblestone towns delivering some gifts to young people in their dirty stockings. That is one way to look at it. He was probably a pious and good man, and traditions followed. So we're going to look into that. Second is the satanic one. Santa is an anagram of Satan. Moved letters around, it reads Satan. Also, some people say he had 6 reindeer. 6. That's the number of the devil. Also, if you look at the undercarriage of his sleigh, all those metal support structures form 6s, at least 3 6s. 666. And, he does entice children to be greedy and avarice. Think about that Santa in the mall. These little kids hop up on his lap and they say, "Gimme, gimme, gimme. And here's my list. Check it twice, but I need more. Give me an iPad. Give me 10 gift cards. I want more." Greed. Avarice. Who knows, if you cut off his white hair, you'd probably see 666 on the back of Santa's head. Who knows? Anyway, that is the second. The third is, a Coca-Cola induced fantasy. Back when Coke had actually Coke in it, they hired a dandy illustrator, and he penned a jolly-looking guy that looked like he could do no harm, drinking a hell of a lot of Coca-Cola. And he created this great campaign about Coke in the world, and I even think the reindeer drank some of that Coke. Who knows if this is the real Santa? So we got 3 to discuss, and we're going to have a special guest on our show to debate each faction of this idea. Which is the real Santa? My special guest is Carl. He's been on the show quite a few times. He is known as the leader of the free world, a known Grinch associate, an all-around great guy. I'm not going to let him even speak until we get going with the call-in questions. So the first call-in is from Alaska.
Hello, am I on the air? Hello, this is Mitch from Nome, Alaska. I'm calling about the origins of Saint Nick. I'm not very religious, but I really want to know about the history. I heard he saved 3 young girls from a life of prostitution by tossing money at their dad, who had to pay for something. I'm not sure I understand. I also heard he's the patron saint of brewmasters. I have no clue why. So maybe some of the origins could be explained, but this doesn't make any sense. I also heard he gives coal to bad boys. Coal is worth a lot. In the Nordic regions, it's hate things, and even Cratchit and Charles Dickens had to beg Scrooge for one lump of coal. Can you explain the origins of Saint Nick?
So, Carl, what is your take on a quick, high, exciting view of Saint Nick origins? Give us the story.
Yeah, Saint Nick is an actual person. He was a bishop in Turkey. He was from a region of southwest Turkey called Lycia, and
Woo, this is exciting.
he was known for his good deeds. In general, I couldn't find anything on bags of gold giving to a father during his time. It seemed like it originated later in the Middle Ages.
Woo, the excitement builds.
They said he tossed them 3 nights in a row, a bag of gold for the 3 girls, one night after the other. And that kind of evolved into he tossed them into their stockings hanging from the fireplace. And that's where we get the whole stocking thing.
What did this prevent? These girls were just young
wants to
girls.
talk about the downside. Supposedly the girls were going to be either sold into slavery or pushed into prostitution because their father didn't have enough money for a dowry.
What kind of Carl, what kind of father would let his daughters go into slavery or prostitution? You wouldn't do that.
Very common father back then, get the daughters out of the house, give the land to the son or whatever.
Oh, so you're saying daughters are useless? Is that what you're telling people?
Back then, they were perceived as being relatively useless, yes.
That's insane.
Well, I don't know what your wife would think about all this, but it sounds dire to me.
She would be happy with my historical accuracy.
She probably wouldn't. She'd probably be the one to give you some coal, like Saint Nick gave people valuable coal, even though they were being bad and it was worth something. According to Cratchit, he would love to have a lump of coal.
I wanted to look up the price of coal per ton, but I've refrained from doing that. I'm not sure where Mitch gets his value on coal.
Yeah, I mean, look, if I was in a Nordic state, one lump of coal would go a long way in that little tiny brazery burner that I'd be shoving my hands in, keep warm.
That's why it became the fuel of source. It was cheap.
Oh, that's logic is hard to
This doesn't
refute.
smell quite the way I expected.
Very good.
So it was cheap, and everybody had plenty of it. So if you got a lump of coal, you pretty much got nothing. Not a valuable, unless you had some kind of a diamond compressor. You could take the coal and compress it synthetically, but I stray from the point at hand. I think Mitch.
So basically, the way
lost
you say it is Saint Nick had lots of bags of gold, which he shouldn't have as a saint, and he kept tossing them to young virgins to prevent them from going into slavery, and had a sleazy dad who didn't like coal or something like that.
It's somewhat close, John. I think the coal thing comes along later, much later in the history of Saint Nick.
Okay.
I couldn't find any reference to coal from the 4th century AD.
I couldn't even find a true lump of coal unless I went to a railroad track and hopped up on one of those big damn, hopper wagons and stole a piece of coal. Otherwise, I couldn't figure out how to get one now.
Yeah, where do you get coal? But
I mean, some people think coal is charcoal, and they're idiots. But anyway.
Oh, really?
So don't put a piece of charcoal in a kid's stocking. That won't work. Okay.
Have you ever gotten a piece of coal in your stocking?
Only that candy coal, you can chew like gum.
It was licorice, It was licorice. It was chunk licorice.
Again, if I was your wife, just based on question 1, I'd give you a hell of a bag of coal. So question 2 is coming from Jube Lumpkin or something from Oleo, Texas, which is another name for margarine. Hello, this is Jube Lumpkin from Oleo, Texas. I recently saw a painting of St. Nicholas in the art show, and he's standing over 3 naked young boys in a pickle barrel. I asked what this was about, and someone said he has resurrected 3 chopped up children that were pickled in a barrel. And this is why he's known for miracles and also associated with children. Is this true? I'd like to know. What is your take on all of that?
Okay, so once again, that originated later from what I could find. And there's a famine, and the butcher, or one of the, a bad butcher, I guess, sees the kids and says, meat.
Wow,
So he
this guy's...
basically kidnaps them and chops them up and puts them in a pickling barrel.
And then what, is he going
and then-
to serve it for barbecue to his guests or what?
I guess so, I mean, once you pickle it, you could just say it's sauerbraten.
I forgot about pickled meat. It's pretty rare. The only thing you get pickled these days is pig's feet and those eggs. You know what I mean? You find at bars. I've never found pickled children.
But no, never found pickled children. But also,
Good.
gosh, St. Patrick's Day. What's the meat we eat?
What's the meat we eat on St. Patrick's
What's the
Day?
Irish meat?
Haggis, the stuff in a bag?
Haggis. It's basically pickled brisket of some sort.
Oh,
Gosh.
corned beef.
Corned beef is pickled, John. My God.
Again, if I was your wife, I would go, what the hell? He can't even
You'd probably
speak.
give me an A+ and a star on my forehead for knowing that. I think, but
So
also
you're-
the only thing I looked that one up. I tried to get a lot of references, but it sounds like it came from France, or middle-aged France. They started that story.
So was there some kind of famine during that period? Or
I
what?
don't know. I mean, that's the basis of why he chopped up the kids and put them in the barrel, because there was some.
So supposedly Saint Nick resurrected all 3 children back to life.
Yes.
And there is this. I saw this picture of the bishop standing in front of 3 children, and apparently that painting was widely circulated, and that's where one of the reasons he became known for being the sort of the saint
Right.
for children.
But he wasn't a patron saint of children. I couldn't, the brew thing I found. He was also patron saint of travelers or seafaring people, because supposedly he stopped some storm and saved these sailors.
Okay, so, and I understand maybe the children are also the unmarried, patron saint of unmarried women, but also of brewmasters and pawnbrokers. I have no clue why that would be, but I guess you pray to him to get a good deal when you turn in your little, 38 special, try to get some money. So, okay.
Okay, yeah. But Saint Nicholas became a very popular saint during the Middle Ages. I don't know, probably.
So
700 to
So
1300.
we all tend to agree that Saint Nick is really the basis
Yeah.
for Santa Claus, I think.
Let's hear from our next caller. Ding-a-ling-ling, ring. I'm on the air. I have a simple question. The question is how did Saint Nick go from Saint Nick to Santa Claus? Simple, isn't it?
Now, me, I not only drink really, I really drink.
I think this next caller, I believe, wants to know how Saint Nick came to be, this Santa Claus. I believe the Dutch had something to do with the conversion of Santa to Saint Nick. What do you think?
It was from the Dutch, which came to, I guess, an abbreviation for Saint Nicholas, which in the Dutch form was like, I forgot it, Santa Claus. And then that, in the Dutch moving to New York, they owned New York for quite a while, and they had a big population there. That's how it kind of derived in from Santa Claus to Santa Claus. And,
Yeah, and
that's
also-
how,
Also, I heard
Anglicized a
that
little bit.
between the maybe the Protestants and the various Catholics or Eastern Orthodox religions, because they used to have the date of December 6th, and the Protestants wanted that changed to Christ's birthday, and then they've came together on that. Okay, so let's go on to the next guy, which is a caller from Australia.
Hey, yo, you. Oh, I'm just clearing my throat. I'm from Australia. My name is Bob Smith, and I'm beginning to think that Santa Saint Nick is the devil. The number 6 seems to surround him. He died on December 6th. He threw 3 bags of gold to the young girls. He saved 3 young murdered children. 3 plus 3 is 6. And in the song sung by the Beach Boys, Little Saint Nick, there's a half a dozen reindeer or deer. So I see 3 6s. The mark of the devil. Can you explain any of this?
That thinks Santa is the devil demon, and he brings up 3 examples of the 6s. His death date, December 6th. The 3 bags of gold plus the 3 dead children equals 6. Plus, during Little Saint Nick's song by the Bee Gees, they reference a half
Beach
dozen
Boys, not the
deer.
Bee Gees. Beach Boys.
Beach Boys, yes. So 3 6s, and I think those runners, those curly Q supports, look like 6s to me. So, what is your problem with Santa being the devil?
Well, my problem with the Santa being the devil is it's a modern phenomena. It's only come around since Christmas has become so commercialized. So people that are more fundamentalist in the religion are more concerned about being a celebration, a Christian celebration, reject it, and then they start looking for reasons to reject it, and they go, oh, it's really just the devil trying to make you greedy and corrupting all little kids. And then, it just rolls from there. And people start looking for more and more associations going, oh, look at the 6s, even though there's 8 reindeer.
Well, no, 8 reindeer come up in Clement Moore's.
Yeah, but Clement was before the Beach Boys, so...
Well, yeah, but which one is more authoritarian? Or which one is, should you believe? And also, I heard that someone says if you look closely with a microscope in his beard, all his curls look like 6s in his white beard.
And I'd have to say that all curls look like 6s when you look at them closely. But you're looking for something, you're gonna find it.
Yeah, I did hear that whenever he goes to the barber, he doesn't let them shave the back edge near the bottom of his hairline because people are worried about.
Could you send me that link to that reference?
Somebody thinks like from The Omen, he's really that little kid that grew up in The Omen. But so you don't think he's anything like the devil or the demon?
Well, there is the North Pole connection. It's really cold up there, and the devil and hell are really hot. So maybe it's
that seems like
the fact that he needed a massive cooling system.
I like that. So the devil is funneling air conditioning from the North Pole down to so below the North Pole is like hell there. It could be. Okay. I like that.
To do the transition correctly and to get the sleigh working and the reindeer to work for him, he needed to cool things off.
I like that idea. Okay. We have another caller, Dominic from Kingston, Ontario, I believe, Canada.
Hey, man. This is Dominic from Kingston, Ontario. I believe that Santa is a demon. And the reason is greed. He pushes men and boys and girls to seek long list of gifts. Checking it twice to find out if you're naughty or nice. But the main thing is when little kids are placed on Santa's lap, they start crying and screaming because they still have that angelic intuition where they can recognize evil. What do you think of my statement from Canada?
He believes, again, Santa's the demon due to greed, and the fact that when you place a young kid on Santa's lap, they scream because they have some kind of angelic intuition about evil. I've heard that when you were placed on Santa's lap under our parents, that you actually thought he was a cute guy and started cuddling up to Santa.
Well, I think that's because I matured early. But I don't really recall screaming at Santa.
Well, you didn't, because you're such a evil fundamentalist when you started off in your youth. Unlike me, when I was put on his lap, I screamed. I was like, Mom considered me an angel.
My granddaughter screamed just 3 days ago.
What's that?
My granddaughter, Emmy, my wife, Cindy, and my daughter, Katie, took her to see Santa Claus. She was all excited in line about, we're going to see Santa, we're going to see Santa. As soon as she put him on his lap, boom, screaming bloody murder, get me out of here. So you have a point.
So we're all supporting the demon theory, except for the fact that when you were placed on his lap, Santa grinned and you started going, I love you, Santa.
Now that I recall, I'll agree with you. It's interesting. I was reading this thing from a preacher, one of those independent Free Will Baptist churches down in Georgia. And, his argument's always been like, first off, we're lying to kids. And it says in the Bible you shouldn't bear false witness, And then he says, if you start telling them stories about Santa Claus and the Tooth Fairy and the Easter Bunny, and then they realize that none of them are true, then what are they going to think about the story of Jesus? Are they going to just assume that's another fairy tale and not true? So you're basically minimalizing the whole, Bible story and the fact that it's Christ's birthday.
So that's what this preacher says, but most of these preachers...
But he's not kind of claiming he's Satan. He's just saying he's doing the work of Satan.
Well, I would say a lot of these preachers, they take in too much money, so they're on the whole thing about, which we didn't really get into, this whole thing of having a list and checking it twice and being greedy, and a lot of kids want all these elaborate things, and we're talking about getting, I need more. I think a lot of these preachers are wealthy.
He didn't mention the list thing in the sense that, now you're telling everybody Santa Claus is omnipresent and he's like God. He can see everything you're doing when only God can do that.
Well, and guess what? The next closest thing to God is the fallen angel Lucifer.
Exactly.
What?
And exactly. And what was the other one that was a stretch? Nick, Saint Nick, okay? Old Nick is an Old English saying for the devil. Nick.
Really?
But it comes from, they said it came from another Dutch or maybe Scandinavian term, Nicken, which is a sea demon.
A sea demon?
Yeah, those Nordic people, they're out in the water all the time. And what else? Lucifer. Saint Nick. There was something about Lucas. Oh, Claus is another anagram for the name Lucas, and Lucas is a code word for Lucifer. I read that earlier today.
Also, I read something about Kris Kringle was something about the Protestants didn't like Saint Nick. So the idea of Saint Nick, right? So they came up with the idea of this other entity called Kris Kringle that delivered presents on a different day. I think this is the difference between December 6th and the 25th. And then somehow they all came together and said, okay, forget Kris Kringle. We'll all celebrate it on the 25th. Because there was some odd thing about Kris Kringle. You know how that's a lot different than Saint Nick, right?
Right.
That term, Kris Kringle. And somebody was like, there was some article I read that was implying it was basically a Protestant-induced thing against the idea of Saint Nick. Okay. Don't know if that's true or not, but that was a kind of a weird little fact. Okay, so let's go on to our last question that came from a crack addict.
Hello, I'm a crack addict. My nickname is Sneezy. And I heard that Coca-Cola invented Santa Claus back in the 30s. And I heard that they gave this weird artist 80 bottles of Coke to drink. He got sort of snookered, and then he drew a fat, jolly fat man with rosy cheeks. And he started it all as just a big advertising campaign. And Coca-Cola made us addicted. What is wrong with the world? I need to go to rehab, but I keep drinking those damn Cokes. What do you think?
I don't know where he's from. I can't remember.
Sneezy.
Sneezy. Sneezy, the crack addict. I think he's holding his nose when he was speaking. Yeah. Apparently he was all coked up, and he really believes that back in the 30s, after this artist guy drank 80 Cokes, that he drew this kind of jolly Saint Nick in one of his hallucinogenic tirades for Coke, and Coke just ran with it, saying, okay, this is a good idea. We can commercialize this dude and make some money. Him hoisting Cokes and dumping them down little kids' throats. What do you think about that?
Well, the amazing thing about Coke, I mean, they took, and we talked about this briefly before, Thomas Nast, who was a artist, cartoonist, political cartoonist, mid-1800s, 1860 to about 1890 or so. He's the first one to act. You go look up his pictures. He drew Santa Claus with a red suit instead of being a small elf like described in Clement Moore's poem. He was human-sized, kind of a barrel-chested guy. So you look at those pictures, and then what's his name? Sonnenblum or...
Yeah,
I can't remember the artist.
Haddon Sonnenblum.
Yeah, Haddon Sonnenblum. He took Nast's work and made it a little bit more friendly. Nast's Santa Claus did kind of have a little bit of a evil old man look to him, not as friendly a grandfather figure. And they actually told him, we want you to make him more of a friendly grandfather figure, because they were going to.
Oh, this is what Coke
did, yeah, in the 30s.
So
just to let you know, John, Coke also, they got rid of cocaine in 1903. Not totally, because they actually still use cocoa leaves.
So
you know that?
So why was this Coke addict all coked up?
Well, I don't think Sonnenblum was a Coke addict.
So
he may have been after he's got all that money from Coke, but
well, I want to know, because every time I look at those pictures, it looks like Santa's had a lot to drink. And what I don't get is where did this idea that he comes and eats your cookies and drinks your milk when he probably is drinking whiskey or something. So why? Who started the whole thing about eating
Milk
your
and
cookies and drinking your
I
milk.
don't know. I didn't look that up. That's a good point. Where did that come from?
Probably came from, I don't know, some tradition down in eastern North Carolina with the Air Force pilots. And I heard that when they came in from a mission, they'd eat cookies and milk, and that Santa was their friend.
I'm thinking some smart parent had a doubtful kid. And they go, well, let's leave some cookies and milk out for him. If they get eaten, then obviously he's come by. You know, spread that around the neighborhood, and you're like, oh, good idea.
Oh, one other thing I thought about we could chat about was, that whole NORAD thing of tracking Santa.
Yeah.
The reason they do that is they think he has nuclear weapons in his sleigh. And they're tracking him in case, I have heard that we go to DEFCON 3 during, Christmas Eve, just in case Santa does something with one of those cities. What is your view of that?
I'd heard it wasn't that he had nuclear weapons, but that the only way the sleigh could move as fast as it did was because it was nuclear powered.
Oh, okay.
In case there was a breakdown, like a 3-mile island into space, they wanted to know where it happened.
Oh, maybe if he has an accident with his sleigh, he might irradiate like Cleveland, and who would care? But
but I just looked it up, John. NORAD tracked Santa because of a happy accident in 1955 when a misprinted Sears ad put kids calling for Santa through to the Continental Air Defense Command hotline. The commander played along, leading a tradition where NORAD now uses its radar, satellites, and jets to give children a real-time update.
Oh, is NORAD part of the Air Force?
Yeah.
Oh, that's where the cookies and milk came from, obviously.
I'm not going to take time to look that one up.
Okay.
None of the pilots that I know.
Well, that's all I wanted to say, but I thought, Carl, you might wanted to, I thought we could record a sponsorship. We could record a little thing. You could say some nice words about our parents and your upbringing.
Parents in my upbringing. Well, I had good parents. I can tell you that. They failed in a few cases. Case in point, John says.
Well, they raised you, and
They raised me. Let's see. Mom was a saint. Dad was a hard ass.
Yeah, but
It works out pretty good. It was a good cop, bad cop kind of upbringing.
that's true. I agree with you. Mom was always there for us. Even Dad was always there for us. He just had a different way of showing it.
Dad had a hard time expressing his feelings.
Yes,
But
he
that's
did.
understandable if you'd met his parents.
But it's funny. We never get to hear it, but he used to always praise all of us to various other people. So I know he's up there in heaven, and he's handing down gifts of whatever love to you and your family. But anyway, I thought
it was more that he was handing down humorous, vulgar sayings like "you don't know your ass from a hole in the wall," or
well, that's true. He's probably saying that right now. What the hell is wrong with Carl? John's a genius. Carl is like off base in some Neverland, left-wing conspiracy crap. And Mom's probably nodding her head. Yeah, I tried to teach him right, but he stopped going to church or something.
Once again, all I want to say to that is skirt.
Well, okay. So anyway, I think
can't get over that one.
That's it, Carl. I just wanted
That's
to
it?
wrap it up
Let's
and
see
wish
if
you.
I have anything else I want to talk about Santa Claus.
You did?
No. gotten a little out of hand. I'll have to agree with that, but I don't think he's the devil.
That was a fun discussion with my brother Carl. Now, my take: Santa is a saintly fellow with mischievous tendencies. He is not the devil incarnate. He is, however, an outrageous dresser, bright red with fur trim, and he likes to hang out with elves that build toys, so that's a little different. But the image that has been created by Coke, I think, is a positive thing, and that it's making it much more accessible to children. Santa and Christmas represent families getting together, traditions, religious observance, and sharing of stories, joys, heartbreaks with your loved ones. And that is what it's all about. And that's my take on this Christmas season. And again, I hope you continue to listen to my weekly podcasts, Half Truths and Whole Lies. There's a bunch of lies out there.